Gang, welcome to another episode of Flea Market Finds with your host, me. That was a lot of this. Anyway, welcome back to the show where I give you a look, a glimpse, an idea of just what old Devall here likes to hunt, search, and dig for when it comes to flea markets, garage sales, auction houses, and so much more. Now I got a whole lot of cool stuff to show you today, so let's start out with the action figure route. Shall we? You shall. Now, one of the things I don't collect a lot of, it's not that I'm not a fan, I am a fan. I had a bunch of them when they first came out, well through my adulthood, and I still have quite a few certain figures as well. But whenever I find them at a garage sale for a pretty decent price, I pick them up, and one of those things are Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles figures. And one of the ones that I found was actually movie star Michelangelo, which in my buddy Sween Halleck's view are some of the best Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle figures ever designed. These movie star figures are amazing with their rubbery skin and rubbery hands and feet. And the fact that I paid 50 cents for him? Come on, who's gonna pass that up? For 50 cents? I'll buy hundreds of them. Okay, not hundreds of them, don't tell Carrie that, I'll get killed. So that was an awesome little find that, when it comes down to it, how can you say no to this party guy? Now, those of you that are familiar with the different shows that I've done in the past or do today know that I'm a pretty huge Muppets fan, and when it comes down to it, Muppets is, well, one of the things that I live by, hence the Beatles-inspired Muppet t-shirt. So I'm always fascinated whenever I find older Muppet items at flea markets and garage sales. And one of the things that I have found a few of over the years, and one that I kept as a child, is the line of Muppet figures. And I found two of them in one place. In pretty good condition. I found a Fozzie Bear and a Scooter. And these toys were pretty simple, really little articulation. Fozzie's feet moved, Scooter's legs were articulated and his arms could move. And that was about it. Now I found just about everyone available. I found a Gonzo, I found Ralph, I found Fozzie and Scooter. I think I need Piggy and Kermit, and that's it. And unfortunately, my buddy Dave Draper has, I believe, both of those. So one of these days I may have to kill him in his sleep and steal them from the night. Just didn't hear that from me. Now I've made no secret whatsoever, that I'm a brony. I love the ponies. Screw all the haters. What are you gonna do? Make fun of me? Oh. 35 years old, I highly doubt that. Okay, maybe a little poking fun at hurts me. Not so much here. Not so much anywhere down here. Right here. Right there. Not so much. But one of the cool things I always happen to look for, and I see tons and tons of the stuff, are pony figures. And the ones I always see are the second and third generation ponies, and I'm not a big fan. The Friendship is Magic stuff I am. I've done some reviews, I like the product. And the vintage stuff, so I'm always fascinated to find vintage ponies, as long as they're in decent shape. And two of the ones that I found two little newborn ponies, which are kind of cute. They're teeny tiny ponies. Little newborn ponies. My little pony, they are so cute. Devall will put them in a case with the others. That's why I don't get paid to write songs. Now, usually when we're scouring antique malls, the lovely wife Carrie and I, we see lots and lots of vintage action figures from, in varying states of disarray, from various dealers asking way too much money for like, I don't know, let's say a Lion-O missing an arm and they want $30. So, imagine my surprise when going through a case of a Hot Wheel collector at an antique mall. I happen upon this guy, little Tusker Warrior. from Thundercats. And in pretty decent shape too. I mean, he's got some paint scratches, you know, some paint scuffs and such. But the fact that his action feature still works, and he's in pretty decent shape, and his joints are pretty tight for the most part. Now I just need his gun. Anybody got an extra gun? Anybody? No. Oh well. For any child that grew up in the 80s, you'll remember Showbiz Pizza Place and the Rock-afire explosion. Some of the things that I find from time to time amaze me. And again, a church sale, just a big church garage sale. I found something that, you know, you used to be able to win tickets and get at the ticket booth. And one of those things was the Showbiz Pizza Place Fats Flyer Frisbee with our good buddy Fats on the cover. When I saw this, I saw it from afar and immediately saw the graphic and knew what it was, and I raced over to it thinking, if I don't get there first, someone else is going to get it, and then I'm going to cry. I probably would have cried. Surprisingly, something the wife picked up and said, ooh, we're buying this. If you haven't listened to Married with a Collection, you probably should listen to it. This is my wife, Carrie, I'm talking about, who is not a collector. But when she sees a thing and she goes, we're buying this, makes my heart flutter a little bit. But she found this little plastic container, and inside the plastic container is full of PVC figures. And the figures in here are pretty amazing. I mean, you've got just a plethora of different characters. There are a few DuckTales figures, some Gummy Bears, a Smurfs figure, Looney Tunes figures, which I believe these were from Arby's Kids Meal, an Alvin from Alvin and the Chipmunk, orange guy with chains on it who kind of looks like My Pet Monster. I don't think that's what he's from. And then Gadget and Monterey Jack from Chip 'n Dale's Rescue Rangers. I talked about stuffed animals in the last show, and some of the ones that we've seen, there was a series of Muppet Babies from McDonald's around Christmas time. But one of the things we found was Baby Fozzie with his tag still intact from McDonald's. And since we finished off the Mickey's Christmas Carol, Carrie and I figured, why not start a new series? It's always got to be something else, right? Now, last episode I showed you a Tiny Bopper Donald Duck that I found. This time, I come bearing another Tiny Bopper, and this time it's none other than the famous mouse himself, Mickey, who is kind of dirty, kind of filthy, doesn't work, but that doesn't mean much. I'll pull the skin off him, get him working, wash the skin, because he's got some nasty stuff on his foot, and I don't know what that is. I don't want to touch it. It could be toxic. We'll get him all cleaned up, and he'll have a nice place with all the rest of my World of Wonder stuff. So now we move back to the world of action figures. And this actually came from the help of my friend BC Direct, our good co-conspirator here on ToyWorldOrder.com. And he actually sent me a picture of these two items a week ago and said, hey, do you want these? And I was like, if the price is right, yes. And they cost me 10 bucks a piece, so 20 bucks plus whatever I had to pay Brandon to ship them. But he sent them to me, and he found these in California, and these are really cool. Now I've got some figures from this line, loose and mint in package, and I hadn't seen them this way before. These are Captain Power and the Soldiers of the Future, Sergeant Scout Baker, and Lieutenant Tank Ellis. And the cool thing about these packages is that they're signed by the cast of the original live-action television series that was created in conjunction with the toy release. I would have loved had it have actually been maybe Captain Power and Lord Dread figures, but the fact that it's Lieutenant Tank Ellis and Scout Baker is still just as cool, and the fact that they're signed is a really cool thing. So these little guys, once I find some protective cases for them, are going to go up on the wall. They make a nice display piece, and what are you going to do, right? You can't pass up when you see stuff like that. Now, I've talked about how I don't normally buy Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle product. I just don't. Like I said, I'm a fan. There's just too much of it out there for me to try to focus on that and focus on, you know, everything else that I find and buy. But when I find this stuff, like I said, at yard sales and garage sales and flea markets and all that, that are super cheap, I honestly am not going to pass it up. Even if it's something I don't collect, like the Turtle line, I'm going to buy it just on principle alone because it's cheap. And I'm sure Carrie would go, just because it's cheap doesn't mean you have to buy it. Yeah, you do. I found from the Metal Mutants line, which was pretty much towards, I want to say the tail end of this line, but the Metal Mutants Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Metal Mutant Cycle from Playmates, and the box is a little dinged up. They've had price tags on it. And they pulled the artwork off some of it, but the fact that it was still mint in box, a cool piece, something I probably won't ever open, something I don't know if I'm actually going to keep. It might actually be something that if there's a Turtle fan out there who is looking for this piece or who wants this piece, well, maybe get a hold of me. We'll talk. It may not be something that I actually keep because I really don't. I don't know where. I don't know where I'd put it. But you never know. Sween Halleck, if you're watching, if you want this bad little boy, maybe we can discuss something. We can do a little deal. We can talk, huh? Yeah. I'll save that for later. I talked about board games, and board games are a huge deal to me, especially licensed or vintage character board games, and especially three-dimensional board games, which I gravitate to like a moth to a flame. And one of the things I found, and I'm sure this will make my buddy Scotty Cash seriously ticked off. This is going to be so much fun. He's going to call me going, why do you need that? You don't play Power Rangers stuff. Give it to me. I want it. No, I'm not going to give it to you. I found Mighty Morphin Power Rangers 3D board game, and it's pretty cool. It's got quite a few pieces. Probably after reading the instruction manual, one of the more complicated board games I've ever seen. There is a ridiculous amount of things because in order to fight the putties, or to fight the evil space mutants, or to fight King Sphinx, you have to get your Morpher, and then you have to morph, and then you have to get your Zord, and then you have to form the Megazord. I'm confusing what I'm talking about. But a cool piece, all there, which is a wonderful thing to always find board games that are complete. I mean, if they're not complete, I won't buy them unless it's something really rare and it's missing a piece, and it's something that can be substituted a dice or a pawn stand or something like that. I might pick it up, but not a bad price for a Power Rangers game, and a cool find, and eventually one of these days we'll take a look at it in much more detail, possibly even play it, which I'm sure whoever does that with me is going to want to shoot themselves. Another odd board game I found, not so much odd, but an odd character for me. I know I talked about how I don't usually buy movie license stuff. I try to tend to stay towards animation, 80s, and that. I picked up this Legend of the Lone Ranger board game, which was based on the late 70s movie of the same name. And it's a very cool, it's actually a pretty cool looking game. It's pretty neat because your only goal is to try to capture all of the outlaws you can and make the most money doing so. And it's kind of a neat board game, and it's beautiful graphics. It's just really cool to look at, and I gravitated towards it. I couldn't pass it up. So. And this last piece actually wasn't found at a flea market or garage sale, but I wanted to give credit where credit is due for helping me complete finally my Talking Toys collection. There was one piece that I've been missing for the longest time, and that was a Talking Cooler, based on the Pound Puppies character, the same name from the 80s animation series. And I've been missing it. It's been dodging me. I could never win it on eBay. It always got outbid. I could never get it. After working out a deal for an extra Grubby and the extra Mickey that I've had for a while with a certain Dr. Betty, you can actually see her at www.toysthattalk.com, and she actually repairs the Worlds of Wonder and Ideal talkers from the 80s. Calling her, talking to her, we became fast friends, and I said, hey, I've got this extra Grubby, extra Mickey. Here's some items I needed. I needed a Goofy hat and a Snoopy collar. And I was like, we got to talking, and I was like, the one piece that I'm missing is Cooler. I need a Cooler. I need his tape. I'm like, that's what I'm missing. She's like, I've got one here in a box with his tape. Well, great. What do you want for it? And, we worked out a deal, and finally, I have Cooler. Very cool. Very neat. Unfortunate thing about this is, much like if you've ever seen pictures of the Talking Bible that Sears offered out of their Sears catalog in the 80s after that movie came out, is that they are actually, unfortunately, pretty cheaply made. And that's not saying that I wouldn't have got him anyway. But he is very, very cheaply engineered. Not as cool as the Worlds of Wonder stuff or the Ideal stuff that actually came out around the same time.
I'm a bound puppy, and I'm looking for a family. I'll sing your favorite songs for you, roll over and give you my paw. And when you're sad and feeling blue, I'll sing to you some more. Oh, I'm a pound puppy, and I'm gonna say it again. I'm a pound puppy, and I wanna be your best friend.
And as I said, it's pretty cheaply made, but he's still very, very neat, very cool, and very lovable. And a huge thanks goes out to Dr. Betty. Again, that's www.toysthattalk.com. If you have any of these old talkers that need repairing, please contact her. She will help you out in any way she can. She is a great, great woman to deal with, and an amazing, amazing person to help me out to finish off this collection. So there you go. So there you go, gang. That'll wrap us up for this edition of Flea Market Finds. I hope you had some fun looking at all the cool stuff that I found, and hopefully I'll be back here real soon with a whole new episode. So stay tuned on toyworldorder.com. Check us out. Make sure you follow up on all the great new stuff we've got always going on. New episodes of Dave and Devall's Toys and Collectibles, new episodes of Married to the Collection, new reviews, everything else, the forums. You can follow me on Twitter at Puppet Devall. And until next time, gang, this is Devall saying, keep playing with your toys.